Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. It is Ruben Amorim's press conference reaction before the game against Nottingham Forest at home tomorrow night. Ruben Amorim speaking very openly and honestly again. It's honestly a pleasure. It's a joy to watch his press conferences because he just speaks to the fans openly and honestly, and he just feels like he knows what he's talking about. He feels like he knows the reality and he knows how the fans think as well. He's already building that connection, talking about how he knows his best 11 in terms of rotation, talking about the potential of this team and the importance on focusing on the performances and not the results. Very honest guy. Can't wait to get into the quotes. Also, if you've not noticed already, the United Stand studio has been Christmassified. We've now got our Christmas tree up. Am I pointing the right way? There it is. Got the Christmas tree up behind us. We also have some more decorations around the little fans forum table as well. So Merry Christmas to everyone. We're in December. We've got the Christmas decks up. I like to have them up for the 1st of December, but for the 6th of December, it will do. Rate the Christmas... Here it is. It's hard, so I'm trying to balance where it is. Rate the Christmas tree out of 10. What do you give it out of 10? And I want to say a very, very big thank you to Ricky's wife, Shelley, who came in and decorated it for us. So if you don't like it, you don't actually say that you don't like it, because Shelley did a very good job and I think it's brilliant. But in terms of the Christmas tree, we have got a real tree in here. And very, very big thank you to Wayne, because he came and delivered our Christmas tree, also give us a wreath as well, which you'll see in upcoming shows when we use the different sets. And if anyone wants to go and get their own Christmas tree, Stalybridge Railway Station, thousands to choose from, a variety of the best prices. And if you've not got a real Christmas tree, what you're doing, you've got to get a real one. It smells dead nice. It looks so festive. Get yourself one of them Christmas trees, Stalybridge Railway Station. Get yourself down there in the Manchester area. But look, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Ruben Amorim's press conference. Let's get into the quotes. I'm seeing Merry Christmas in the chat. I'm seeing Merry Bethmas. Merry Bethmas, I love that. No one's ever said that before. I absolutely love that. It's going on my Christmas card. But let's get into the quotes by Ruben Amorim. So he starts off by speaking about Kath and the very, very sad passing of Kath, the receptionist at Manchester United. Obviously, so much more than a receptionist. An absolutely beloved member of Manchester United Football Club. We spoke about her passing on the show last night. Extremely sad news. But Ruben Amorim speaks out about Kath and he said, "We feel it today. It is a sad day. I met her 7 years ago. She was the lady behind reception. You feel the love for her. She's an important person who represents this club. Friendly, professional, taking care of everyone." And I thought that was a really nice little tribute to Kath, who Ruben Amorim obviously did his coaching badges under Jose Mourinho in his time at Manchester United, and he would have met Kath then. Lovely person. All the tributes to her say it all. Has so much respect from anyone who's ever met her, and that's the type of people who... She's one of the type of people that build a football club, so very, very sad. Obviously, condolences go out to her and her family, and yeah, it's sad news, but Ruben Amorim touches on that as well, and I think it was important to say for them words coming from the Manchester United manager, and it just shows how many people she did touch. He then goes on to speak about team news, and Ricky won't be happy. Johnny Evans is still not training, so Johnny Evans will not be available, still not training. Victor Lindelof, who obviously had his injury with the international team on the last international break, he has now returned to training but isn't yet available. Ruben Amorim said maybe in the next game he will be available. Lisandro Martinez, Kobbie Mainoo, obviously back. They were just suspended and they will be part of the matchday squad. Not heard about any other injuries, so I don't want to jinx it. I do not want to jinx it, but if Mason Mount can stay fit for another game, it's looking a bit more likely that he might be able to put a run together. Ruben Amorim's obviously managing minutes, and he stresses the importance of needing to manage minutes, because he's brought in his own people who will tell him, the workload, what players can do. And he's obviously clearly listening to the physios as well, who are saying this player can play this many minutes, this player can play that many minutes. And the last thing you want to do is rush a player or put too much workload on a player to the point where they could then get injured and be out for a few weeks. I remember when there was, I've watched, the documentaries of football managers. The Spurs one with Jose Mourinho was a big one. He used physios, and I actually have a friend who's a physio and knows a lot of people who work at football clubs as well as physios behind the scenes. And she said to me, there's so much pressure on physios from managers and from coaches to be like, are they fit and ready to play? And you say no, and they're like, yeah, but they are though, aren't they? And it's like, well, no, they're not. So Ruben Amorim is actually listening to his physios, because sometimes not all managers listen and they do risk it. Sometimes physios will be like, oh, there's like a 60% chance he could do it, but I really would keep him out of this game. And managers just take the risk, because ultimately it does come down to the manager's decision. And players are very unlikely to be like, no, I'm not going to play for the manager. It's the job. So Ruben Amorim's clearly listening to his physios. And if Mason Mount can stay fit for another game, somebody who's been out consistently with injuries, be back for a couple of games, then injured again, that would look like really good news in terms of him being able to actually string a run of games together, which is the first and foremost thing you need to get from Mason Mount. Of course, you're going to start analysing his performances, what's he bringing to the team, and I actually do think he's played well, but the main thing is getting fit. So, yeah, that's in terms of injuries and fitness-wise. It looks like Johnny Evans is still not training, but Victor Lindelof has returned. Obviously, Luke Shaw's out. We know about that. Sky's blue, grass is green. But apart from that, it looks like everybody has remained fit. So that's really important going into the next games as well. Already got a super chat in. Thank you very much. Patrick says, Beth, you just jinxed it. I'm not jinxing it. I'm stating the facts, guys. I'm stating the facts. There's no such thing as jinxes. I don't know what you're on about. Lucy and Ryan gifted 5 United Stand memberships. Very generous. Are you in the Christmas spirit? Because we've got the Christmas tree up. I like the way that you're moving there. And then we have Amorim also talking about Manchester United's league position. And let's be honest, everyone, our league position isn't that great. And I do care. I was going to say I don't care. I obviously do care, because I want Manchester United to be as high up in the table as possible. Manchester United are currently in 13th place on 19 points. Newcastle are in 12th on 20. So, I mean, Brentford are ahead of us. Brentford are on 20 points and we're on 19 points. That's where Manchester United are at. It's really poor. Like, really poor. We know the stats of the season we had. Obviously, we've had a switch of managers. But as much as obviously I want to be as high up in the table as possible, at this moment in time, like Ruben Amorim goes on to say, it's about performances. We're at the start of this journey with Ruben Amorim. He's coming midway through a season. He's trying to teach players a new system. It's like trying to teach an old dog a new trick. Like, it's tough. It's tough work for him. I mean, look, we spoke about on the morning show, look at the Sporting fall-off since Ruben Amorim's gone. They've been consistently losing games after winning like every game after game after game when Ruben Amorim was there. He's a very good coach. He's coming in midway through a season. He's got a lot to deal with. He's got a disjointed squad. He's got players from different managers all over the shop. He's not got a single of his own signings. You could kind of class Ugarte. He's worked with him before. So I'm not looking at, oh no, we have to make Champions League. We have to make top 4. I think that's not going to happen, by the way, not to be negative, but I think Champions League in the Premier League's off the table. I think winning the Europa League is so crucial. Obviously, it's going to be tough, but I actually back us to win the Europa League, I said at the start of the season, and that's how we can get into the Champions League. But I want to be as high up in the table as possible. Is it embarrassing being at 13th? Yes. But it's about performances. And there was an improvement against Arsenal. We lost to Corner FC. Yeah, we did. We didn't create enough chances to score goals. We needed to be better in the final third. Ruben Amorim said that after the game. He said we needed to take more risk and be more creative in the final third. It's hard when you're not able to get on the training ground and work on them patterns of play. But we were more organised. We kept Arsenal out in the first half. Our possession was better. We had them at arm's length. We conceded 2 silly corners and they scored off that. They're very, very good at set pieces. They scored off that. They're very good at set pieces, but it was an improved performance over previous times. So there is stuff to build on. But what Ruben Amorim said about the league position, he said it's sad because it's a very competitive league, but it can change with just one result. We have to pass this phase. So I feel the same way, because before the Arsenal game, you were asking me about top 4, and now we return to this position, which is 13th. So he's basically saying we need to not be too dramatic. You know, sometimes you're thinking, oh, well, you know, you're close to top 4, you're only 4 or 5 points off top 4. You know, if City lose against Forest and we win against Arsenal, you're only 3 or 4 points behind them. But then now you're in a position where you're in 13th and there's quite a big gap. So things can change quickly in this league, what he's trying to say. But I honestly don't even think Amorim will be focusing too much on the league position. He will want to win every game. He's super competitive. You have to be in the position that he's in. Of course he wants to win every game. Of course it hurts him when he doesn't win. But this season, there's not really any pressure on him. Let's be honest. It's a bit of a free pass. It doesn't matter where we finish, as long as, you know, we're not hopefully bottom half of the table, which we currently are. But at the end of the season, hopefully we're not bottom half of the table. It's just like, it's getting that process in place and getting everyone to learn his style of play and learn his system. And Mian Turner says, we have some players who have been traumatised by rival teams who are always scared to show up, need to move them on if we want to progress. I do sometimes think we do look a bit scared of, the big teams, which I think is not the right mentality for these players to have, and it needs to be weaned out of them, and hopefully Ruben Amorim will do that. You have Keel Robinson saying, as long as we rely on Rashford, we will not improve. And United fans, so salty by getting bullied by Arsenal, have fun fighting for top 10, says Gaz Grindor. Who's salty? Nobody's salty. I think you're salty coming into our chat saying we're salty, because at the end of the day, this is your golden era and you've won nothing apart from an FA Cup where you were still pretty garbage. Arteta's been in for how long now? And he's got as many trophies as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had for United. After that FA Cup, like, you can count the FA Cup, but he came in midway through the season then. So, yeah, okay, he has one more trophy than Ole, but you've not won anything. City have literally slipped up and basically handed you over the title, and you've just passed it over to Liverpool this season. So, you know what? I want Arsenal to win the league over City or Liverpool, of course I do. But it really frustrates me when Arsenal fans are like, oh, you're just salty. Did you enjoy watching that performance of Arsenal's against United? You got 2 set pieces, you scored 2 goals, fair play, you won the game, fair and square. We're at the start of our rebuild. This is your golden era and you still won nothing. So, yeah, anyway. Come back to me when you win something, please. Please come back to me when you win something. And Ruben Amorim, he's our coach now, and I back him, I believe in him. You had your time in the league. Let's talk when the FA Cup rolls around, because Arsenal fans start getting confident, very confident now, messaging me saying, oh, you know what, we beat you. You barely even had a shot against us at the Emirates. Yeah, we're at the start of our rebuild. I'm genuinely not bothered. I'm genuinely not bothered. When that FA Cup comes around, let's see who wins that game. Let's see. Let's see. That's all I'll say. Let's see. Elijah Moses says, what do you think about Simmons and Cunha as 10s? Like them both. Like them both. I prefer Cunha, if I'm being honest, but I like them both. Oh, that I'm just thinking now that's going to get so clipped when Arsenal knock us out of the FA Cup, isn't it? That's so going to get clipped. I'm going to get absolutely annihilated by Arsenal fans. Ruben Amorim better win us that match in the FA Cup. I think it's at some point in January. It got scheduled at some point in January or maybe February today. Let's hope and pray he manages to get that result over the line after my confidence there. Well done though. You fished and you managed to get a bite. Well done. Well done. Amorim then also speaks on bouncing back from the loss to Arsenal. We have to remain calm and keep doing the job that we're doing. He then gets asked, this was the big one, and when he got asked this, I was like, I'm sat. I'm ready to hear Amorim's response to this. He says, if he knows his best 11, and he said, more or less, yes. We have an idea, but then we have players returning and we have to manage the load. He says, for example, Bruno Fernandes, you feel it against Arsenal. He was tired at the end of the game, but you know he will recover. He recovers quickly. If you talk about Manuel Ugarte, I've known him for a long time. Therefore, I know he needs a little bit more time to recover. So that makes me think, when obviously he didn't start stating his best 11 because he's not going to do that to his team in public, and he's obviously not going to do that for other managers to see as well. But that makes me think Bruno Fernandes and Ugarte are both part of his best 11, because he's talking about how he knows his best 11, but he has to manage the workload because certain players can deal with matches in successive games. Certain players need more time to recover. He name drops Bruno and Ugarte. They're obviously part of his best 11, his best team, which I think we would all know anyway. But I'll be really interested with Ruben Amorim if you start to see less changes and a more consistent starting 11 going out. Because as players build fitness, and it is harder to build your fitness midway through a season when there's so many games, but as players do start to build their fitness, get used to the system, and, you know, he gets to understand the players' workloads more. For example, you know, like an Ahmad, who he's only just kind of managed now. He's only got into management now, but touch wood, he's seemed to stay pretty injury-free this season. And then, you know, he sees like a Kobbie Mainoo who's just coming back from injury, what he can handle. He's another one who I think could be in his best 11 if he's fit. He talks about players returning. You know, De Ligt, he's been obviously able to manage a lot. Mazraoui, he's been playing game after game and he seems to be doing okay. Don't want to jinx anyone, but he'll start to get to know his best team, and I'm excited to see whether he does actually start to make less changes and you start to see a very similar starting 11, because I do believe you can't change as much as we have on a consistent basis. I get why he's doing it when he's first come in. He's trying to find his best team and he's getting used to players' workloads, the fitness levels, and there is players coming in and out from injury. But in the future, you do have to build them connections on the pitch. You do have to build that chemistry within the team. So you have to have a very similar starting 11. I'm not saying you can't make changes, of course you do. But usually, you know, the best teams, it's a very similar starting 11 every game. I mean, look at Liverpool. It's basically the same every time. Arsenal, it's basically the same every time. I know City do chop and change a lot because they have a very deep squad, even though they're crying about injuries currently, and I know they have suffered quite a few injuries, but you do end up getting that starting 11 out, and I'm excited to see how quick that does happen with Ruben Amorim and who makes it into that best 11 for him. He also gets asked about the lessons that he takes from the Arsenal game. He said, "It's really hard. I learn the same with the wins as I do with losses because I focus on the performance." And I think that's really important. And thank God he does that, because there's some fans that, you know, you win against Everton 4-0 and, you know, they're talking about how they're back and how it's, you know, it's all like sunshine and rainbows. And don't get me wrong, I was buzzing we beat Everton 4-0, but I'm not stupid. In that first half, I thought, you know what, Everton could have nicked a goal in that first 20, 30 minutes. We weren't great. They were the better team. And then once we scored the goal, it changed the game and we then dominated them and played quite well, to be fair. But there was a lot of things we did wrong in that game, and Ruben Amorim says that himself. He said, "We won 4-0 against Everton, but I saw that so many things were wrong, and I saw the same against Arsenal." So even though we lost 2-0 at Arsenal and we won 4-0 at Everton, there's lessons to take from each game. And he might even be thinking there's more lessons to take from Everton, because honestly, in that first half against Everton, we did make a lot of mistakes. And then you go to the Arsenal game, the first half, I thought we played it really well. Could have taken maybe a few more risks in the final third, but we kept Arsenal out. We enjoyed a lot of possession at the Emirates when you're under pressure in the first half. The set-piece goal was unfortunate to give away. We could have defended it better, but it was a very good corner. And then the goal changed the game and heads started to drop, and it was, you know, things progressively got a bit worse. But there's lessons to take from every game is what he's saying, and I think that's super important that we have a coach who recognises this and is honest about this as well. Sugar says, Beth, did you see the Mourinho reply to Pep? I did. I commented on it. I said, respect Jose Mourinho. Absolutely love that man. Such a good personality. And do you know what? Like, we can all sit here and say, you know, 115, and you can talk about the alleged charges, the alleged breaches of Manchester City and the charges they might face, but nobody really, like, you know, no one's going to take Beth Tucker on the United stand talking about that like massively seriously. But when Jose Mourinho comes out and says it, people listen, people sit back and look, and it makes headlines. So it's fantastic. People are complaining about the Christmas tree lights. Enjoy them. I'm just actually taking a moment to just look at it. It's lovely, and it's red as well, just like United. Stephen Chan says, Beth, what's your predicted 11 for tomorrow's game? I'm going to do that right at the end of the show, so stay tuned. And vote, do you like the lights, yes or no? Do you want them to be on static, or do you like the little bit of animation there? Because we have got a static option as well. Our next game against Arsenal in the FA Cup is on January the 12th, apparently. Coming round quicker than I thought. Also, by the way, we've got some more. Actually, I'll do this at the end. Sorry, guys. I'm getting distracted. I wanted to read out the games that we've got coming up because, wow, Ruben Amorim's got a tough fixture list right around the corner. Generally a very tough fixture list, and I wanted to talk about that. But let's finish up the quotes. There's one last one before it goes to the embargoed, which will come out later on this evening. And you can see his embargo quotes over in the United Stand. I think they come out at around 10 p.m. on the United Stand Twitter, so make sure you go and look at that this evening. But the last thing Ruben Amorim said in this part of the press conference was, we need to think about things. We don't have much time to train and prepare for the next opponents, but when I see the team, I think we're improving in some aspects. So he says, you know, we need to take time, we need to analyse the game. He will go through the game with them with a fine-tooth comb. It'll be a lot of meetings. He's spoken about how having players stood on the training pitch and directing them instead of, you know, using the sprinting and using their energy, because we've got so many games right around the corner. He doesn't want to overload them, but we need to learn quickly is what he's trying to say, and the players need to adapt quickly. But there has been improvement, and I do believe there has been improvement, but there's so much more to go. It's literally just the tip of the iceberg. We've got such a process ahead with Ruben Amorim, and I, for one, am very excited to see the transformation. And he won't come out and say it, but there'll be some players that he already knows won't be part of that. There's some players who absolutely will be part of it. Mazraoui comes to mind, Delit comes to mind, Ahmad comes to mind, Ugarte comes to mind. He seems to like Bruno, he comes to mind. Bruno's the captain, obviously. Who else comes to mind? Anana comes to mind, but there'll be some players that are just like, won't be able to go on the journey with Amorim. So, I mean, that's months down the line when we get to the first transfer window. And even in the summer, you won't get rid of everyone who he wants to get rid of. It will take time to fully rebuild this team, but it's going to be a journey, and we're right at the start of it, but there has been improvements. So that is the quotes from the press conference. I wanted to get up our fixture list because I took a picture of it before. I took a screenshot. So Manchester United, right? So we've got Nottingham Forest at home. Nottingham Forest, I actually think, will be quite a tough game. They're a good side. They started off the season really well. They've had a bit of a dip, but they're still a good side. Do not take Nottingham Forest as just an easy win. Do not get me wrong. We should be winning that game, and I expect us to win that game. But it will be difficult. But that's not part of the difficult run. We've got Nottingham Forest at the weekend, but it's an easy slip up. You've then got Pilsen midweek over in Czech Republic, Europa League game, which Manchester United absolutely should be winning. This is when the run starts, right? You've got City away at the Etihad next Sunday, and I feel like some of our trolling of City and taking the mick out of him might come back to haunt us, because I think that Nottingham Forest game where they got quite a good win they're going to have a bounce back from that, and I think away at the Etihad is going to be a very, very tough game for Ruben Amorim. Although we did do Pep with Sporting, but that was his Sporting team, not this Manchester United team. And that chat earlier was right. We do seem to sometimes play quite cowardly when we're away from home against these big sides. And that can happen at the Etihad. You do, like, sometimes we have some shrinking violets, don't we, in our team? You've then got Spurs away in the Cup. And I know Spurs have had some really dodgy results, and I know the Spurs fans aren't happy at the moment. But Spurs are the type of team to lose against Bournemouth, draw against Fulham, lose against, you know, bottom of the table teams, and then they'll go and beat City, they'll go and beat Arsenal, they'll go and beat whoever. So they'll go and beat the big teams. To be fair, we're more like a Fulham or Bournemouth. Actually, we're disrespecting Bournemouth there. They're doing quite well, aren't they? We're more like a bottom end team, so maybe that'll work in our favour against Spurs. But that's a tough game. You've then got Bournemouth again. That should be a win, but that right now in the Premier League, the way they're performing, is a tough game. You've then got Wolves away, which Wolves are rubbish at the minute. Let's be honest, they are rubbish. But they've got some good players, and it's our bogey team. We always struggle over at the Molineux. So that'll be tough. Then you've got Newcastle at home, another tough game. Then you've got Anfield away just after New Year, and then you've got Arsenal away again in the FA Cup. So it's gonna be really tough. It's going to be really tough, but Ruben Amorim did say there's a storm coming, and like I said at the start of the show, I obviously want to win, but I'm not as much focused on results, but I'm focused on performances, and that's what Ruben Amorim's focused on. Got to get this system right, and the one thing you can say is, at certain times under Erik ten Hag, it felt like we weren't progressing because we were just chasing results, playing any way possible, playing, you know, some horrible football at times and just trying to grind out results. Whereas with Amorim, we are going to lose some games, but he's going to stick to his way of playing, and you've got to get through this rough patch to get to the other side. And that's what the most important thing is. A lot of people say Lindelof them lights. Lindelof them lights. I love the lights, but if you want them on static, let me know. Maybe we can run a poll. Put the lights on static or have them animated. Let me know. Connor Edson says Ahmad is closer to Messi than the rest of our attack is to Ahmad. Fairs. Don't disagree. Elijah Moses says, what do you think about... I've done that one. Thank you very much for your super chats. I did get asked before and I said I would answer it towards the end of the show. What I thought the starting 11 is going to be against Forest. What do you want me to name? What I think the starting 11 is going to be, or what I want the starting 11 to be? Because I'll tell you what I want the starting 11 to be first. This is what my starting 11 would be, my best 11 would be at this current moment in time. I would have Onana in goal. I'd have a back three of Martinez, Maguire and De Ligt. I'd have my wing backs as Mazraoui, left wing back, and Ahmad, right wing back. I'd have my two midfielders as Ugarte and Mainu. I'd then have Bruno and either Garnacho or Mount in the other 10. Probably Mason Mount, but then I'm just thinking about the legs in terms of, you know, Amorim does like to have a winger in there. But I'd probably go with Bruno and Mount, or Bruno and Garnacho. And then my striker would be Rasmus Højlund at this moment in time. That would be my best 11. What I think the team's going to be, what I think Ruben Amorim will do based on rotation. He won't play Ugarte. He's just said he needs a bit more time to recover. I doubt he'll play Ugarte, even though I think he's actually a necessity to this team and this system under Ruben Amorim. I think Ruben Amorim will want to manage his workload and rotate him. I think the 11 will be Onana, Martinez. He might play Maguire and Mazraoui in the back three, and he might give De Ligt a bit of a rest because he has been playing a lot of games. I then think he might start Malassa at wing back because he came off, didn't he, against Arsenal quite early. And I expect Ahmad will start this game as well at right wing back because he didn't play against Arsenal. But then again, you're leaving Dalot, but Dalot has played quite a few games now, so Dalot might get rotated as well. I think his midfield two will be Casemiro and Mainu because they've both not played the last game. I then think he will go with probably Bruno and Rashford in the 10s. Rashford will come back in, and then he'll probably play Xerxes up front. That's how he'll probably do it because he does rotate. But yeah, that's kind of I've done that on the spot there, my predicted / what I would play. Someone just said Maguire and Mount in your best 11. I'm not saying it's my best 11 out of when everyone's fit, but I'm just talking about in this current moment in time with the options that we've got. Like Yoro eventually will be in my best 11, but Yoro, I don't think right now he can start a game. He's just coming back from injury, isn't he? So he hopefully will come off the bench again. I can't wait to see more of Lenny Yoro. But get in the comments down below what you think the 11 will be. Original says it will be Casemiro and Eriksen. I heard that Amorim isn't the biggest fan of Christian Eriksen. Nothing to do with, you know, his personality or anything, just in terms of intensity. He was obviously left out of the squad against Everton, wasn't he? Jack Kelleher says Mazraoui is wasted at left wing back. I think Mazraoui will probably stay as a centre back because he's doing so well there. But I think he could do wing back. I think he could do centre back. I also think he could play midfield. He's such a versatile player that he's just fantastic to watch. So love me a bit of Mazraoui. He might give Mazraoui a rest. He honestly might give Mazraoui a rest. I won't be surprised if he does give Mazraoui a rest because he has been playing every single game, hasn't he? Mazraoui, De Ligt, Onana and Bruno seem to be the ones that just have been playing every game. I think partly it's down to obviously not having as many defenders available as he would have wanted. Certain players can recover quicker, like he said. But as much as, yeah, it'd be nice to give Mazraoui a rest, I feel like he's become like a first name on the team sheet, has to play because of how good he is. But anyway, thank you for watching, everyone. Maybe you'll play Ahmad at the 10. That'd be nice to see. But he's so good at wing back, you kind of also want to see him there as well. It'll be interesting to see what he decides to do. But that's the thing with Ruben Amorim. You cannot guess it. You cannot guess it. But hopefully soon you'll start to see consistent best starting 11 as the title. Ruben Amorim, he says he knows his best 11. It's just when he can start getting it into gear and start doing it. But look, everyone, thank you for tuning in. I know triple Beth shows. You finally managed to get through it. I'm joking. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for all your comments and getting involved. We've now got the Christmas tree with us. Absolutely stunning. If you didn't see it at the start of the show, make sure you go and check it out. Staley Bridge Railway Station, Wayne. He's got so many great Christmas trees. Real as well. Fantastic. And shout out to Shelley, Ricky's wife, for dressing it for us. It looks absolutely fantastic. But look, everyone, I'll see you tomorrow because Nottingham Forest, right round the corner. I'll be at Old Trafford. We've got Ricky on the build-up. We've got Ricky back for the fans forum. We've got a full day of match day content coming your way. Pretty sure Goldbees is going to be live on his career mode over on his gaming channel. And then he will be back for the 8 p.m. show tonight. Friday 8 p.m. show. You know what that's about. You're always tuning in and getting involved with that. It'll be like a little bit of an opinion-based show, I'm thinking. So make sure you tune into that later. But look, everyone, thank you for getting involved. Thanks for all your super chats. Hit a like on the video if you haven't already. And most importantly, have a fantastic Friday night. And I'll see you on the next one. I'll see you tomorrow.